No, it's bad if I'm making another video over on the second channel about this. We talked earlier about the Xbox situation. It's alleged that around 9,000 people are being let go. There's a bunch of crap happening. Phil Spencer sent out a memo to everyone saying, everything's great and we're looking better than ever, but unfortunately we got to let you go. And it's just a very tone-deaf situation. I, of course, talked about the acquisitions that they have made. Of course, the fact that everything is appeasing the shareholders and all this nonsense nowadays. It's an absolutely ridiculous situation. But one of the things I was interested in seeing was, like, what was the fallout going to be? Like, what was actually happening? It was alleged that Everwild had been canceled, which, I mean, realistically speaking, Everwild should have been canceled a long time ago. Seemed like they didn't have any sort of idea of what that game was supposed to be and how that game was supposed to function. But the other news really pissed me off. And it genuinely, I won't say it ruined my lunch, because like my lunch was still pretty good, but I didn't enjoy it as much because I was genuinely pissed off. The Initiative has been shut down. Perfect Dark has been canceled. Bro. What in that holy mother of hell is going on over at Xbox? Check my track record when talking about Phil Spencer and talking about how Xbox handles things. It definitely always seemed like it was a more focused on a friendship thing and kumbaya instead of actually being a boss and trying to run the company properly. Perfect Dark was arguably one of the most interesting games that Xbox has shown in a very, very long time. Of course, there is the classic N64 game, the somewhat mediocre Xbox 360 game, but it had been a long time since we had seen a new Perfect Dark game. And when they showed that at the Xbox Showcase last year, it was like, wow, this looks pretty cool. This looks like a Perfect Dark that could be really fun. They showed a bunch of different gameplay mechanics, some sort of stealth elements. It definitely looked like a bit of a return to form to the original Perfect Dark instead of the one that we got on the Xbox 360. Now, this game had been in development for a very, very long time. Of course, it seemed like there was a reboot of it as well, but I don't necessarily think like that's the worst thing in the world. It's a very similar trajectory at Metroid Prime 4 had, where it was announced, it was discussed, and then it went away for a while. We didn't see anything from it. There was allegedly some internal problems with the game. And then when we saw the game, I was like, oh, okay, everything looks cool. But we're canceling Perfect Dark in 2025 after showing it off last year. And it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, it feels... How do you let this happen? Honestly, how do you let this happen? Because at some point in time, let's say that the game was garbage. Let's say that the game was trash. It wasn't working well. Where does the responsibility fall upon? The people making the game or the people approving the ideas and coming up with the things that the game is going to instill? Phil Spencer is in charge of things like that, or at least was in charge of things like that. And then we got situations like Redfall that came out half-baked. You could say whatever you want about Starfield. I don't think it quite met the same metrics that we had expected from, a company like Bethesda, who has done the Elder Scrolls games and many other games. Of course, you had Avowed earlier this year, which didn't quite reach those metrics that people come to expect from Obsidian, a game that I enjoyed, and I enjoyed Starfield to some degree as well, but it definitely felt a little bit half-baked comparative to other previous efforts. Games like Halo Infinite, same sort of thing. All of these games released under Phil Spencer's tutelage, and yet this company can't figure out how to make a perfect dark game in 2025. Bro, anyone could sit there and write out a perfect dark game as far as what they want from it. You take the core principles of the first game and you expand upon them. You take the stealth action or the over-the-top action. You give the player different choices, different options. You make it with pretty graphics. You have some high-tech weaponry, some interesting locations, various forms of travel. Like, this is not hard to do. And the fact that this game is canceled, but so many other games weren't canceled, I think that's what really pisses me off. Because a game like Redfall should have been canceled, but instead they just shoot it out the door because they needed something to come out. Remember last year when Xbox told you, oh, we're delaying Avowed because of your backlog? And it's just like, how do people still like rock with these companies? Like, how do people still accept what these companies say at face value? Xbox has been lying to you for years and years and years now, and I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt because I like playing my third-party games on my Xbox Series X. But the writing is on the wall with this company. They're throwing whatever they can at the wall to see what sticks. And if it doesn't stick, they're going to get rid of it. If it doesn't stick, they're going to shoo it out the door. You think this ROG Xbox Ally is going to reinvigorate you guys? I know those cocksuckers that sit there and glaze your company every freaking day and tell you guys that you're doing the best job in the world, the one that you take out for lunches and dinners and stuff that you do PR events with and you have these one-on-one interviews with. I know they're going to tell you everything is great. They're going to tell you everything is awesome. They're going to tell you that you are making the right decisions for your company. But the average consumer is telling you different. The average consumer has been telling you different. The average consumer has been telling you what they want out of Xbox. Yet, you do what you want to do. Because you want to make those PR shills that you have happy. You want to make the investors happy. Because your stock is skyrocketing right now. Your stock is doing very well. Because you're doing all these layoffs. So people are like, yay, now Microsoft, you know, they're freeing up money from previous acquisitions. This is ridiculous. This whole situation is ridiculous. And if you see anyone dick riding for Xbox for the rest of 2025, you need to question that person. You need to question their morals and their motives and stuff like that. Because this is the most insane situation that I have seen in terms of gaming layoffs. And I think it goes to show you that nobody is safe. No company is safe. Nothing is safe within this industry. Remember when I said that a gaming crash was indeed happening and we were seeing the ripples of the effects that were going to be happening and people made fun of me. People said, oh, no, everything's fine. All the companies are doing great. You have literally one of the three biggest companies canceling arguably their biggest game to date for the Xbox Series platform and letting 9,000 people go. But everything is great. Everything is awesome. You have to look at the bigger picture. You have to look at the larger picture. I never said it was going to be like 1983, but there was going to be a sort of reboot, I guess I would say, where the gaming industry realizes that appeasing the shareholders and making these huge multi-million-dollar games that have to sell 5 million copies just to break even is not a sustainable practice when you are constantly raising the price of the games. But I'm going off course because I'm still pissed off about Perfect Dark and the other slop and bullshit that you put out on your platform because I don't know why you put it out. Maybe you just don't care. Like, maybe that's what it is. Maybe you just don't care. Phil Spencer is a great snake oil salesman, and he's been fooling people for over a decade. But one person managed to see through all of that. One person managed to say, hey, I don't really trust this guy. And I'm not going to name his name, but, I mean, he's a pretty attractive-looking YouTuber. Got a little lunch left on my face there. But I just wanted to rant about this because I think it's disgusting. I think it's such bullshit. And the worst part is, in like a week, you're going to be hearing, like, how the fuck are you going to talk about new consoles and stuff? Sarah Bond coming out. We're excited for the new consoles and AMD, but hey, fuck all these games. Ridiculous. This is disgusting. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. And goodbye.